Need It podcast episode 4 is here. Like I told you guys, every single Sunday at 7 p.m. we are going to be live. New guests every single time. Tons of support has been coming in. And before I get into my guest, I just wanted to, I usually like to kind of remind people about what's going on, but it's been fun, man. I've been having so much fun doing these, and it seems like every single day that goes by, it gets closer to that weekend, and people are starting to look forward to the next episode. So I like how everything has been working out so far. And I've been getting lots of love depending, on who the guest is. But I'm just grateful to be where I am with the podcast. Very happy to be doing this and to be seeing the feedback from you guys. So today's episode is going to be a good one. And I think it's going to be a topic. I usually like to give every episode a topic. But this one's going to be good because it's about being consistent. And I think that's something that so many people lack. So I thought it was the perfect time to bring in our special guest for today, introducing Tenacity Fit, a.k.a. Oscar Benitez, my brother.
Here I am. How you doing?
Welcome to the show.
Hey, I'm kind of nervous. It's been a minute since I did a podcast. So just hearing my own voice on this mic, it's cool and all, but let's get to it.
You haven't done it for a while, right? So people don't know, but you had your own podcast with Ray, which is you pretty much work at his gym, the trainer back home. So how's that been, the podcast? You guys haven't done one in a minute.
So we were pretty consistent, but Ray moved out to SoCal. So it's not that we weren't on it. It's just, he was pretty much moving out. He got busy. And I mean, we're still trying to figure out things on how we're going to stay consistent and trying to get a routine going, but we'll get to it. Yeah. I mean, like you said, consistency, right?
Yeah. Back to the same topic about being consistent. That's the hardest part. And the one thing I've noticed, because, obviously you guys inspired me to even start it, because it was so cool when I did the episode with you guys. We woke up like at 6 a.m. because that was the only time I had.
Yeah.
But it was a cool episode. It just, at the time when I did that first one, I wasn't even putting my face on the mic, so you couldn't hear the whole episode, which sucks. Those are the things that you deal with. But it goes back to, prioritizing, being prepared. I mean, you see right now we were doing this whole setup, and it took me like 30 minutes just to get the cameras going and to make sure all the angles are right. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but, it's cool to have you here to make the way, because obviously you came from Stockton. So yeah. I know you hate the drive, but is it getting better?
You know what? I'm kind of used to the drive. I think today, because I usually start my mornings off like at 5 a.m. Well, 4 a.m. I got to get up, train some clients. And usually like by 10, 11, that's where it kind of hits me. You get a little drowsy.
Yeah.
But on the way, I had to get my nitro cold brew and I was good to go.
Yeah. How's, for those that don't know, my brother, he is actually go ahead and explain to them what you do. I'd rather you say it, because obviously, your journey of, I consider you now an entrepreneur because you're doing different things, but just explain to them, if they were to ask you, define Oscar Benitez right now, what would you say? Who are you?
Like in
every aspect, like, obviously, profession, all that stuff.
Okay. So I'm a personal trainer, been in the field for about 5 years now. I do have my bachelor's in health, exercise, and sciences, so I could pretty much be a physical education teacher. I just started up my fitness brand, which is Tenacity Fit. This kind of goes way back in 2017. I think you remember when I started it. There's a long process to it. But I started back up again January of this year. So far, so good. And I mean, there's a lot on the plate, but all you can do is as long as you can manage your time, you could definitely do a lot more.
Right. Yeah. And it all ties into obviously the topic that we're talking about, being consistent. So, very happy to see that you were able to graduate school, that you were able to kind of rebrand yourself, because you kind of did everything at different times. You had a lot going on when you were in college and you were trying to do your brand, but you were so stressed out about school. And a lot of people don't know, but both of my brothers, actually, they both went to college, university. My older brother actually graduated from Sacramento State in accounting. And then Oscar just explained to you guys what he did. And actually at UOP, University of the Pacific, which is one of the most, prestigious schools.
It's a private school.
Private school, yeah. I mean, we're kind of not used to it because we grew up in Stockton, so we think about it like whatever. But a lot of people go from different countries, to go to that school.
Yeah, and the thing was when thankfully I got a scholarship through a community program, and it's pretty dope because you don't meet people that are from Stockton. I met people that were from Paris, from the Netherlands, like you name it. And
Everywhere.
anytime I went to the school, it felt like I wasn't even in my hometown. I only lived like 10 minutes away from EOP, and it was dope. I met good people, and the good thing about that school is it's really oriented towards like working in groups. So it kind of felt like high school. You go in, see the same people, you build good relationships, and you just don't know who you're gonna meet. And that's what I loved about that school.
That's dope. That's dope. They had a good experience because, nowadays it's scary when people are moving into what they want to do, right? Like as a profession, and kids in high school, even at a younger age, there's a lot of good stuff. But what would be some pieces of advice for those that actually want to attend college? Because obviously nowadays there is some people that do talk about, is it necessary for me to go to college to be successful? What would be your piece of advice for those people?
So let me put it to you this way. Are you going to college for something that you really see yourself doing? For example, being a doctor, right? If that's what you want to do, yeah, you're going to have to go to school. But if it's for business, nowadays, like I never been to business school. I learned along the way. I asked questions. I mean, nowadays you got YouTube, things that you could learn, or online courses. So if it makes sense, but now if you want to do something on your own, like a business, you could do that yourself as long as you're passionate about it, and you're gonna struggle, but you'll get there.
Right. Yeah. I think, that's the school that teaches you the most experience.
Last thing you want to do is be in debt and like you didn't really have any takeaways.
Right. Yeah. You couldn't take away obviously with you, from what you've said, it's very different from people that I've, obviously me cutting hair. There's a lot of guys that were in school, and a lot of them were kind of stuck switching majors, like maybe a year or two in.
Yeah.
Some of them saying they're going for business, saying they didn't really make sense. That's the toughest one. They don't know what to do, but they jump into a business.
I hear the business
major.
one all the time. Like for myself, it really helped me as far as like the personal training level, just because, I learned a lot about the human body, and it all ties in on how to like coach people. I mean, I'm pretty much learning how to coach kids, and that ties into teaching group classes. So I really loved it. I took away a lot, and I'm not going to lie. I did learn a lot while I was there that transitioned into my personal training.
That's dope. That's dope how it all ties in. And obviously you said that, you could be a PE teacher. I know that you've told me that you could pretty much be a substitute teacher, which is, both are good things. Like I feel like with what you do, you could take it anywhere as well. With me, I could work from anywhere, even if it was online business or actually doing, at this point, it would be, let's say, cutting hair. I could pretty much do that anywhere. So what do you think about that? Like, are you going to eventually be, doing like a part-time substitute teacher at one point, or what do you think?
So I really like the flexibility, because right now in California, they just waived like some of the prerequisites you needed to substitute or to be a teacher. So, I'm getting a call by one of my professors saying, well, one of my teachers back in high school, and they wanted to get me to like be their physical education teachers, just because right now it's like urgent. A lot of teachers, I guess, quit, or they're low on teachers. But as far as a substitute, like I'll be down for that, because I could train and I could sub whenever I want.
Right. It's very
and anywhere I want.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't become stagnant where you're just doing the same thing every day, right?
Yeah. It's like any school. So I mean, it's dope, because I do plan on eventually moving out, most likely out here in SoCal. So I pretty much just have a plan. Like I'm not just gonna come here right off the bat try to find clients. Like I'm obviously gonna substitute or possibly find a teaching job, and then build clientele from there. So I got that as a plan, and I could take that anywhere.
And I think it's cool because obviously some people, going back to the topic about do you really need school, I feel like in this sense, it's so cool that you have that strong like backup, whether this something works out or not, you have that stable job that you can always go back to, but you're also not settling for that, and you're able to continue to pursue like whatever else you want to do. So I think that's the cool part about it. I mean, speaking about you wanting to move, like what are some of your future plans, including that one?
So some of my future plans, now I kind of want to just take it back with challenging myself and being consistent. So as I think during like the COVID year, well, once COVID hit, that's when I really realized that like, oh shit, what am I going to do? Like everything's closed. Like, where the hell am I going to train? And at that time I met my boy Ray, shout out to Ray, who owns Savage Elite Fitness.
Shout out to Ray. He's the one that's been training Blanca and I.
Yeah. And he pretty much reached out to me. I hopped on his podcast at the time, and he told me after the podcast, "Hey man, are you trying to find are you trying to be a personal trainer for my gym? I think you would really fit in well here." And he told me from the beginning, this is like a gold mine in here. And just meaning like you're going to grow. You're going to grow, you're going to get clientele. And ever since then, I've been consistent. I've been satisfying my clients. They've been getting results. I've been getting better as a trainer. I've been investing my time to get better, not only in the gym, but outside of the gym, putting the time in online courses. Like I put in countless hours shadowing different trainers or buying programs, getting online coaches. And that's how you develop as a trainer. And from that point and on, I've been consistent with all my clients, and I feel like I need a new challenge. I want to challenge myself, and I talked to Ray about it too, because he just made the move out here. And I'm like, if I could do what I did out in my hometown, I can imagine what I could do here and much more.
Right. There's definitely more room to grow here, and I've told you that. Obviously, you saw me move, and then he moved a couple of months after, and I think it's good, the fact that there is people that you're close to that already moved, including myself, because we're able to kind of tell you almost like a head start.
Oh yeah.
And just like I've told you before, there's so much that you can do in your hometown. You could establish yourself. You could be on top. But once you go into a new environment, you literally have to start from zero. And that's the scary part sometimes, that we come in without really knowing, but we have this ego.
Yeah.
And you start to just feel like you're too good to do something. But it's always important to remember to grind it out just like you did when you were at zero. It's just that you're in a new environment. So it requires a new version of yourself, even though you have this good formula that has been working for you for previous years. But I feel like as long as you understand that and have that chip on your shoulder, I feel like as long as you have that, I think you'll be straight. And obviously just continuing to be around the right circle and the right people. Just like, I've always told you that, you had a lot of potential, a lot of stuff, but I feel like sometimes your habits and the consistency wasn't there. Like you literally.
Let me take it back. Let me take it back to that.
Wait, hold on. Let me tell him.
All right, just tell him.
Yeah. So Oscar's always had so much potential, man. Like as a little brother, I mean, right now we're having like a serious talk, right? And I guess that ties into what we're gonna, questions that we'll answer later about like how our relationship is. But I feel like we talk a lot about business stuff, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
It's good that you have that, right? But sometimes we take it for granted because we're brothers. So I feel like I was on his ass for so many years, like, Oscar, you need to do this. I need you to do this.
Next
like,
thing you know, I was partying.
So Oscar will be trading and working on something, and then the next story, I'll see him partying in Rosarito.
Oh my gosh,
what's going on? So I told him,
don't take me back, please.
So I told him, Oscar, look, you have a lot of things that you could do, but you need to start prioritizing. And even to this day, you're still guilty of that. But it's normal, we have to enjoy our lives too. But you're starting to see, in order for you to push ahead, you got to kind of, sacrifice those temporary moments for obviously the long-term goal. And I think, you're starting to get it finally, which is good. And I think obviously Ray helped you a lot. Sometimes we don't take advice from those that are so close to us, but then sometimes you do get that person. And right away when I met Ray, I was like, it's good that you have him, because it's somebody that has experience, same field as you. So I get it. It's a little easier to understand. Obviously as brothers, you feel like, shut up, I don't want to hear what you have to say, but you're starting to get it now.
No,
right?
yeah. You mature, that's for sure. And I felt like I matured a lot. It took me some time, because there's some people that are entrepreneurs out there that start when they're 19, 20. Like I've met a couple and I'm like, man, this guy seems like he's 30 already. Shit. And I just turned 25, and I feel like I'm at that point now where I'm shifting away from all the BS, and now I see a vision like, okay, I can't be over here partying if I have a business or anything like that. Now I'm really dedicated to what I'm doing, And at the end of the day, like, you want to live up to your word.
Right. You want to basically, live up to what you're saying that you are. Like, are you really who you say you are? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people obviously have this picture of like, I'm like this and like that. And whether it's a barber or a trainer, but I had some experiences when I was cutting where, I would say that I'm consistent and on time. I wanted to charge more, but then I was showing up drunk to my first appointment because I went
Did that
out the night
happen?
before. Yeah, I had like a couple of times. I had this really bad experience one time where I went out and I was so hungover and I had to start cutting at 6 a.m. Never again, dude. I was so drunk that day. I think I canceled like half of my day because I was just so out of it. And imagine that's still a profession that you're going into.
Yeah.
Like, it's a customer service. Same thing with you if you show up like looking like shit
Oh,
to
man.
train and they
people
just
know.
smell. Oh yeah.
People know. And then it sets the tone for the rest of the week.
Yeah. You just don't want to start
a
it
bad
off like that. You don't want to start it off like that. And obviously in your shoes, I've always told you like comb your hair, make sure you dress up good. If I'm going to train with you, like you gotta look like, damn, I want to be like you. You know what I'm saying?
And I've been getting my haircuts every week. So,
yeah,
just staying on it, obviously presentable.
Yeah.
Sure. And being able to make your client comfortable. I think that goes with everything as far as like a barber, a trainer, whatever it might be. You got to make your client feel comfortable. Get a good conversation going, ask them how your day is and go from there. And that's how they relate to you. And that's how they're going to stick with you because they're like, man, not only he gives me good service, he gives me good talks. Like, it's dope, though, the people you meet. And I'm sure you met some good people in the barber industry.
Right.
That you still talk to this day. Even if they don't get cuts with you now, they're still there in the long term.
Yeah.
They're good people.
The relationships that you build are cool with the kind of service that we do. And that's why I still do it. People ask, why do you still cut hair? And I was actually going to post something like that about, I haven't posted a haircut in so long, but I was going to do it. And I was going to actually caption that, like, why do you still cut? And I was going to pretty much say, I love being able to engage with the client's network because it doesn't matter who I meet. This person could be a ghost on IG, but in person, he's a real estate investor or he does e-commerce. So it's just I literally met two of those people recently and I was like, this is so dope that I'm still
connections.
I'm still able to come. Yeah, I'm doing it out of love and it's not even about the money, but I'm able to charge what I want now. And I gain so much out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like what they pay me doesn't add up to the value that I gain from that conversation. So that's the best part about it. And doing it because I love it, not to live, and thankfully I've been able to adapt and find new ways with the pandemic. Just like you said, you matured a lot. And I think the time that you matured was throughout the pandemic. Because there was a time in the beginning when it started and before the year started, remember I told you, I was like, Oscar, I need you to like, you have a lot of potential. I see where the brand could go, but you got to do this, and that. And
I remember.
Next thing you know, the pandemic hit and you went to Rosarito. You were literally all over the place. And it took you the second shutdown to kind of like get your brand going. So speak about that, about like where Tenacity Fit is currently and then where it was maybe a year or two ago.
So a year or two ago, it was probably a year ago. That's when I started. I actually changed the logo twice. And then the third time it was clutch. But at that second time, I didn't really know where I was going with the brand. I was like, is this going to be something like a gym? Or is this going to be apparel? So the second time I changed the logo, it was like me running on the shirt. And I was like, man, this looks like a gym. Someone told me, they hit me up like, hey, man, your logo looks like the Ninja Turtle. And I was like, man. So that discouraged me. And then that's when you reached out to me and you're like, hey, I see the potential. Hit this guy up. He could definitely give you direction on what you want as far as the logo. So, man, this guy, he nailed it. He nailed it. I loved it. And from that point on, I loved it so much that I gained that passion back. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to work hard and I'm going to get this done. And I know there's going to be challenges. I didn't have high expectations because thankfully I did this back when I was about 20. And, I was in a relationship, obviously relationship problems. And it was crazy. I was a college student. I didn't do my research. I went right to it. And then all the stressors kicked in and I gave up. And then I revisited. And that's a good thing. You're going to fail. Not once, not twice, not 3 times. No matter how many times you fell, you got to keep going because you don't know. You might be like a step away
Yeah.
from that success, and boom, you stop there. It's like the finish line is literally a couple steps away, and you don't even know, you don't even realize it. So that's my approach. Like, I'm not where I want to be right now with my brand, but I think I've been pretty consistent.
Yeah, it's definitely grown a lot from where I seen it. And like he said, I reached out to him. I told him, look, Oscar, if you want to really make this official, I'm gonna put you on with my graphic guy, the one that's done literally every logo for me, guys. If you guys don't know, maybe some of you guys followed me back from when I used to have my original Ulysses logo, the barber one. He did that original one. I never changed it. Amazing work. Then he did the Sharp and Dapper one. Never changed it. People love that logo. It just sticks. It's catchy, the way it looks. And then we did the Act of Faith logo, and now he did my Needed Podcast logo. So obviously everybody's stuck on how the Needed Podcast logo
Yeah,
looks.
it's clean.
There's a lot of important things that go into it. So I told him, this guy's gonna charge you more, but I promise you, you're gonna be happy with the result. And sure enough, he got it. He started doing his clothing, which actually, by the way, very good quality. Not even because you're my brother, but everybody loves the shorts. You're actually rocking the shirt right now. Explain a little bit about what Tenacity Fit means, and what you currently have, what's coming next.
So Tenacity Fit, let me take it back on what it means to me. So I'm kind of go deep, okay, into its meaning.
Go ahead.
Well, a lot of it has to do with, as an individual, being really passionate and having the tenacity to obviously go for whatever goals I want. And this also appeals to anybody out there too, that you have goals that you want to reach. You're going to obviously go for them. But this goes back with my parents. Well, like, they migrated over here, and their goal was to raise us. And what was Ma's goal? To get us to go to college, get us to be successful. And they didn't stop working their asses off. Like, I still remember being in an apartment. I think there was only one room, and we would sleep in the living room. Yep. You remember that?
Yep.
That's crazy.
Now, if you look at it as an adult, you're like, shit, that was a hard decision. And we had our aunt sleeping in the closet that was super small. Remember?
Yeah, and at the time, like, childhood was great and all, but you didn't realize those things until, like, now you really think about it, and you're like, damn, so not only that, but they had their own businesses.
Right.
And I remember she was always on us, like, hey, do this, do that. Her goal was just to see us graduate,
Yeah, see us graduate. Stay out of trouble, man, because people don't understand. Obviously, growing up in Stockton, now we still live in the same area, but I think the fact that we grew up in that environment, it kind of gives you that thick skin, and it kind of builds something that just goes with you. It stays with you throughout, your life. And I think that's why I'm so grateful that, we're able to go back to the roots, and it just kind of re-inspires you sometimes. And maybe you don't realize it yet because you're still there, but once you move and go back, you're going to feel that energy when you go back. And obviously they did everything to sacrifice for us. And, it was tough for me because I was one of those oddballs that was like, I don't want to continue to go to school. I want to be a barber. And it was like, man, are you sure you want to drop out? Because I was in community college for already a year, which is similar to you. You did 2 years community college. You transfer over to university for 2 years. So 4 total. With me, I stopped after a year, and I took that risk at like 18. And I said, screw this. Like, I'm not feeling the school. I started to do bad with my grades because I wasn't focused, because I was literally working at the mall. I was cutting hair, starting to, and then I was still in school. So one of those is going to be bad. And I quit my job. I enrolled to barber school, and then I stopped going to college, and I just took that risk. And within a year, I was licensed cutting full time. And that's when shit started getting better for me. So, it's cool to see now that, I wasn't able to obviously have the degree, which is so dope to have, but I'm still able to make something out of myself. And I feel like we live at a time where entrepreneurship is really the way right now. Yeah. So I think it just ties in, and I'm glad I'm able to help, obviously people around me like you and others, and to continue to, obviously inspire, because there's just so much to still do. And that's the thing about it, staying consistent.
Yeah. Achieving your best self. So that's pretty much, right, like, as far as the brand, you want to achieve your best self.
Right. And I mean, it's so cool to have those roots. And obviously our parents have always been, entrepreneurs themselves pretty much, because obviously they moved from the country. Maybe, my dad, obviously he was working at Denny's for a little bit.
I think I was a baby.
Yeah. Well, he came, he was in jail for like 2 years. He had to go to Mexico, came back. And obviously our mom was literally taking care of us, working like 2 jobs. I remember our aunt would take care of us at night.
I think so.
Remember, you were pretty small, dude, but it's crazy. I still remember that, me and Edgar
I do remember actually a little bit.
we would always be taken care of by other people in a way until like my dad came. Finally, there was a little more help, but my mom was working 2 jobs, and her job was to obviously provide. And then when my dad came, things were getting better, but they always were pretty much, my dad obviously he paints, and he's always had his own business, and he's always taught us that they've kind of instilled that like be your own boss mentality.
Yeah.
So I think that's so cool that we have that, and I think that's why we're able to do what we do, and be good at it, because we have that backbone from the early years. So continue to go on. Obviously, after what tenacity means, I think we started talking about a bunch of shit.
So yeah, like pretty much achieving your best self, like continue thriving. You keep striving to the end of the mountain, but you want to still keep going, even if you get to the peak. So there's no stopping. And that's the way I look at the brand with anyone. It could be, for example, someone who is looking to get their business or achieve goals.
Yeah, that's so cool that you're talking about obviously your brand and what it means. Sometimes people just see a brand, they don't understand what's behind it. And I think I've been able to kind of like enlighten you with that, right? To kind of make sure that your brand means something more than just a name. And this is going to tie into what I'm trying to do next myself. And it's just help people out to brand themselves. We live, like I said, in a time of entrepreneurship. So there's so many people that need guidance. And it's cool that I've been able to see, obviously you grow, you've been doing your own experiences, and that's helped you. But it's, I'm happy to see that your brand's doing good. The clothing is legit. It identifies itself because obviously the quality is there. And then I see people giving you the feedback. And tying into that, let's talk about the training. I think people want to know how can they be consistent with training. Before we get into that, let me just explain a little bit what I do, because I'm not the most consistent. I'm consistent with showing up, but I'm not giving it 100% effort every single day. Like maybe I'm training 3 times a week heavy, and I'm just doing cardio the other days. Or sometimes I get up late and I'm only able to do cardio. I think I haven't really gave myself a fitness goal. I think it's more so showing up to make sure that my mental is good, not so much my physical appearance. It does more.
You want to feel good.
Yeah, I think I want to feel good, and that's why I do it. But I want to eventually get to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm giving myself this goal. I'm gonna look shredded. I don't know. What would be your advice to me and others that are on that same boat? Maybe where I'm at, or others that haven't even started yet.
So it goes back to like, why aren't you consistent? And this could go back where, well, maybe you at one point you're like, you know what, I'm like hop on the gym next week, and next week comes around and you don't.
Right. You hear that a lot.
Or maybe you don't have experience. And a lot of clients that have came to me never had the experience, so they invest in training. And they're like, man, like I've learned so much from you. Now I feel comfortable going to the gym. And it could be going to the gym, not having experience, and then your mentality kind of kicks in, and it's like, oh fuck, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah,
I don't want to look stupid. And then maybe the gym is packed, and trust me, there is ways to work around that. You just have to know modifications. That's where training pretty much comes in play.
Yeah,
you learn so much that eventually you build a routine.
Yeah, even stretching, freaking, obviously improvising when all of the stuff is being used. You can have a really good workout with little equipment. And I think that's the thing I've learned from you and Ray. Let's say I have a chest day, and why does it feel so much better when you guys are there training me as opposed to me doing it? Is it just, am I not pushing myself enough, or what is it really with a trainer? Like, what's the difference, and why should people go train with you?
So I think a lot has to do with, I think the experience, like for myself, obviously it's my passion. I love doing it, so I always enjoy it. But for someone who just pretty much just got into training and possibly has a trainer, and they get good pumps with their trainer, and then they go to the gym, it might be, how should I put it? Like, I don't know. That's a tough, because I do have some clients that really, really, really they just have that, pretty much that tenacity. Like they'll go in there, they'll kill their workouts. They check in with me, and then I do have some clients that are like, oh, did you hit the gym? Nah, I didn't get to go to the gym, or I'm not getting like the best pumps. I need you to be there. But eventually, like, my thing is learn to push yourself. I mean, it's all a mentality game at the end of the day. You got to just do it.
Yeah.
You got to do it. If you know how to work out, obviously with your trainer, that's something you're going to learn. Then just go in there, and each day it's a new day, but don't get discouraged. Like, take the positives and don't take the negatives. That's what I tell my clients. Like, take the positives from today. If we didn't get the best pump, maybe you didn't hit a certain PR or something like that. Just take the positives from our session, and we'll go from there. We'll try to do better next time.
Right.
Every week is a new week, so set goals. Don't just go in there without a game plan.
Yeah, I think with me, what I've noticed now that I've been training with Ray, and then obviously the times I went with you, is just being prepared, getting up on time, making sure that you drink your pre-workout coffee, whatever it is that does it for you, drinking a protein shake before to make sure you're not fainting, and just being able to invest in those supplements, because, that kind of gives me some type of pump without me even training. It just gets me excited. It gets me into a position where I'm like, hell yeah, I invested into my body. So now
feel good.
I'm going to feel good, and I'm going to go a little harder because I know I have this stuff that I'm excited to take, whether it be like protein, BCAAs, all this other stuff that I've been like using. And, I've seen good results, but I know that I'm capable of more. And I think that's the part that kind of keeps me going. And I don't even really train. I don't want people to think that I'm like this crazy, looking dude, but I've definitely gained some weight. We're naturally thin. We're skinny as hell before. We still are. We can't, people talk about the legs, but bro, trust me, I'm 6'1", and I feel like out of the brothers, I'm the one that just cannot get calves as hard as I try.
I can't get calves. Sometimes honestly, I went going to school, that we'll talk about like genetics, and there are some body parts that do lag a little bit, and there are some body parts you develop really well. So it just depends.
Right.
But going back to the training, I think a lot of it has to do with accountability. So when you have someone there, you're like, oh shit, I got to do this.
Yeah.
I got to push myself. No one's there. Your phone. I think that's another thing. The phone. I think if you can maybe leave it in the car, if you don't have anything important, well, I guess you're going to listen to music, right? I don't listen to music actually when I'm working out. I don't know if that's weird.
It's kind of different.
Just because I know I can push myself. I know I could get in the mindset. Usually if I have music, I heard this from David Goggins. If you guys follow him, he's like, that's pretty much cheating. You have your headphones in and you need that for your pump. I know people that they forgot their headphones and they're like, oh fuck, I can't get a workout in today. I guess I'm a miss today. Like, hell no, it's all getting into the mindset.
It's literally a staff meeting. It's literally a staff meeting with yourself. I feel like when you actually are working out, it's a moment for you to dedicate to your body. And I think there's times where that happens to me. My phone's dead. I'm like, crap, I don't have music. But in reality, I've been able to realize after being consistent, I'm like, okay, I'm listening to the same song again. I have days where I'm off, other days where I'm on, but I guess I'm going to try that. I'm going to try to just go in there with no music and just see what happens. Like, get into your thoughts, right?
Yeah, get into your thoughts. And like I said, go in there with a game plan. Be prepared. Set a time. Okay, I'm going to do this, this, and that. If this isn't available, this is what I'm going to do. Because if you go in there, like I said before, you have no plan, then yeah, you're going to be stuck. So yeah, invest in a trainer. Hold yourself accountable. What I do with my clients, okay, I take it, I feel like for myself, I want to do the most for my clients. So I give them a workout plan, right? And this is for the whole month. So this is pretty much telling you what you're doing with me and what you're doing on your own.
Right.
So not only that, but you're getting a workout plan that down the line, maybe if you're training with me 3 months, 6 months, and you decide like, man, I think I've reached my goals. I think I can push myself. You go back to those plans and you build your own routine and you see what plan worked best for you. So it's like getting a blueprint of the whole workouts, and then you get to understand. You become a teacher.
Right.
Pretty much.
That's dope. So right now, for example, obviously, I feel like people are going to be so pumped to work out after they hear this episode, or they might even be listening to this when they are working out.
Yeah.
So what would be, let's say somebody wants to train with you, and obviously, I've been able to be some type of influence for you to create your online business. Cause we talked about that for a long time. I said, create your online business. Yeah. The pandemic happened. You can't train people in person. Doesn't mean you can't send them a plan, even if they're in another state. So right now, what do you have going on with that? Because people are going to be interested in training, or, maybe have some type of session where you could send them something, or, over Zoom or something like that. What do you offer?
So I did do a website not too long ago, and I created some plans, some PDF plans, like some bucks. But then I realized, like, why don't I just do workout plans? But this is going to appeal a little bit more for someone who has some experience. I wouldn't necessarily say someone who's like a beginner, because obviously if you're a beginner, you need to work a little bit more with visuals, because form is important. But if you're an intermediate, or you have some type of experience, it really ties in, because the blueprints I send, you'll really understand them. Not only that, I obviously have the notes, the workout guidelines, how to follow everything. You check in with me weekly. Okay, so I hold you accountable. If you don't check in, I'm dealing with people in person, and I have other online clients I'm dealing with.
Yeah, it's roll call right
so
there.
It's roll call. And I'll remind you maybe twice, 2 times, 3 times, and we'll go from there. But, there's times where I might get left on red. Yeah. And I'm like, there you go. Like, you need they tell me, like, I need that one-on-one training.
Right.
So what I've been doing lately is I've been recording videos on YouTube, how to do certain movements. So your compound lifts, like your squats, your bench press, your deadlift, your shoulder press, all that. And I'm like, okay, I could use this. So when I create these plans, I put the link on there, and then it directs them to my YouTube page.
Right. That's dope. That's dope that you I didn't know that you did that yet, but I did tell you before, I've done plans before with other people, but it's so important to just see how to do it, because a lot of these people, when it comes to working out, they just don't have form, the most basic things, but you'll be surprised how much more you could lift and how better it feels when you actually do it right. So yeah, I think that's a good part.
Form is just great. Like you said, you could lift more, especially with your compound lifts, and you reduce the risk of injury. But other than that, as far as the planning goes, I also throw in a free meal plan in there, and you pretty much follow that. It's cool because I have a client. She's from, I can't recall if she's from Seattle. I'm not sure, but she's down 40 pounds.
That's crazy.
She was at 325, and now she's at 287. And this is week 15 or week 14. And she's like, man, you don't know how much you have helped me. And she's like, now I love going to the gym. As you start seeing those pounds shedding, it makes me proud. It pushes me, it's like, man, I'm really, really impacting someone's life right now.
Yeah, you're making a bigger change than you think, because now you created this new lifestyle that she's loving, that she didn't know that she was going to love.
Yeah. And I really like seeing that, even with my one-on-ones that are in person, that push themselves, that they get me going. And I always give back. I'm like, hey, you know what? Here's a free session on me.
That's dope.
Or here's a free week on me. Or here's a free training plan on me. And I like giving back. Like, man, you guys are showing your support. I'm doing my work, and you guys are showing your results on your end.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. That's the difference right there, like how you are with people. And I think as long as you're good with people, you're always going to last long, because obviously there's a million trainers, but the experience with them is different. I'm happy to see that all that's going good. And before we start wrapping up this episode, I wanted to kind of do I guess you can say, like, a review over everything. But there's a lot of interesting questions that people were asking on Instagram, because I did put a poll up about, like, ask some questions. This whole podcast, it's funny because I wanted it to be personal in a way, but then we talked so much about business, and it's so cool because, one of the main questions, we'll start with this one, is, how's your guys' relationship? What are some similarities? And I think it's cool because I think really it's business. Now that we're here talking, we're like, damn, I feel like you've grown up so much, and there's so much.
We never have these conversations.
We don't. But then we just clicked,
awkward.
Right? Back to the sound. No, it wasn't awkward. We're over here trying to plan it before, but you can't plan it. We just went into it. But it's so cool to see. I could tell you've grown up a lot. We're both busy, and that's the main reason why sometimes we don't keep in touch. But like I told you, I'm out here. It is an amazing place to work out. To network, I should say. LA is an amazing place to network. last time you came, you actually networked. The other times you've came, it was always a vacation. So you would come and party, and then next thing you know, boom, it goes by that fast.
So I know this is probably like off topic, but speaking about networking, I think that's big, and that's what I was lacking on. And just taking it back, I met this photographer back in New York. Shout out to Urban Shots. I reached out to him, and he helped me out with my brand. I literally reached out to him. I was like, hey, man, can you find some models for me? I'll pay them, and that way I get my campaign going with my brand. And he was like, yeah, man, I got you. And that led to connections. So off that, I met 5 to 6 trainers from New York. And I said, you know what? I'm going to book my trip. I'm going to book my trip, go out there, meet these people personally, get some workouts in, and just grow. You know, this is the East Coast.
Yeah.
This is not even out here in SoCal. You know, I could easily go to SoCal and try something out. But I'm like, man, how cool is it going out there, meeting these people, getting workouts in, and you don't know who you're going to meet. It's like a tree. A tree grows. It doesn't grow straight, right? It branches off, and you want to keep branching off.
Yeah, that's a
different
cool,
branches.
That's a cool way to put it. That's good to hear. You know what's interesting, that I actually took a trip to New York. I forgot what year it was. I believe I had just got married. I might have had my shop, maybe 2017. I remember. I think it was 2017. I took a trip to New York. I had to pay my way out there. I went with Blanca, and I didn't have any reason to go. It was just me making that effort to go to an event. I was able to teach a class for free. First class I ever taught. And that was the trip that really inspired me when I went to New York. I was able to go. People went to the class. I got a lot of good feedback, met some good people, and I made a trip out of it. But the cool thing was what it did for me long term. I was able to meet so many people that I'm still cool with today. And that's the dope part about being an entrepreneur, that you're able to just, there's really no stopping you. Like, it's only, you go as far as you want. And obviously you're putting yourself in a position to invest in yourself, go on this trip. You know, who knows what's going to come out of it? Only good things for sure. But you know, that's so cool that you're doing that. Looking forward to seeing the content that comes along with that. So let's start the questions just to wrap up this episode. So these are going to be, I don't even know what to call this. I wanted to start doing some kind of segment through each episode where it's like a rapid fire questionnaire. You guys can let me know on the YouTube comments, what do you guys think I should call this? But I want to start doing this with every guest, just rapid fire, just because it's gonna get you thinking, but it's quick, you know. So let's start off with that. So quick questions, all right? Quick answers. First one, what is your favorite childhood memory of us?
Favorite childhood memory, playing outside just with kids in the neighborhood. I always remember that. Nowadays it's a little different, but that for sure, you know, I had my fun time.
Yeah, you ain't lying. Those were the days. Remember where our parents wouldn't be home and we'd be sneaking out just to play?
Some water gun fights, man.
No salgan afuera. No salgan afuera. Man, we were so bad at that time.
Man.
But my three, you know, obviously it's 3 of us total. My older brother, me in the middle, and then you. But we grew up, we're only like 2.5 years apart each. So we grew up all playing.
Pretty much together.
So that's the best part I would say about childhood memories. It would be that, the fact that I was able to grow up with them together and we were able to do everything, and it was cool. You know, those are times that no longer are going to be there, but the memories that we made, that's the dope part about it. So I guess that also ties into how was it up, you know, how was it growing up together? That's another question.
How was it growing up? And being the youngest brother,
little brother,
I'd always get bullied. No, it's cool. You know, just looking up to you guys. Always, obviously, whatever you guys did, I did. Right. I wasn't. You guys were pretty much the leaders at that point, so I pretty much followed up with you guys.
Right. It's funny, as a middle child, I would see, like, when you would be trying to be like Edgar, and then there was times where you try to be like me, but you never really had your own identity until now.
I didn't.
You know?
You're right.
You would just mimic whatever we would do. So that's the thing about, you know, me in the middle, I'm just kind of the mediator. But that's funny. I think growing up, you know, we always had him as a little brother, and I think every little brother goes through that same shit.
Most likely. You
know, they all get bullied. Shout out to all the youngest siblings in the family, and shout out to all the forgotten ones, like the one in the middle. I'm kidding. It really is a thing. Middle child syndrome.
Yeah.
I swear. Okay, next question. Let's see. Are you single?
Yeah, I'm single.
Okay. Are you looking?
Depends. You know what? It just depends. You meet the right person and you fall in love, then yes. But if I'm not feeling some butterflies, then no.
So what would it take right now? I mean, obviously you just kind of answered it, but what would it take right now for Oscar to settle down? What would the girl have to bring to the table?
Have something going for themselves, and always having like goals that, like, okay, they might be working or whatever, and they might have like some plans on the side. I like that really that's pretty much like a turn on. If they're like, you know what, I want to start this business and whatever, and they're pretty much supportive on my end, and they're pushing me, because yeah, sometimes you are there, as a single dude. I'm like, man, it could be nice having someone, but then again,
It's getting cold at night.
it's getting a little cold at night. Winter's coming. My blankets don't warm me up. But then again, I got the abuelita chocolate, so it's good.
La abuelita and the tigre
Yeah,
cobija.
yeah, and la concha. That's it.
That's funny.
That's all I need.
That's all you need. No, that's funny. But keep doing your thing, man. I mean, obviously with time, I feel like when it comes to relationships, you can't you can't really force those things to happen. They kind of just happen.
They happen organically.
Yeah, they happen organically, and that's the only thing. I mean, nowadays, I guess we could wrap it up with that same question. Being single nowadays is definitely different when I was single, because that was like literally over 10 years ago. But times has definitely changed. I don't know how it is, but I hear everybody talking bad about it. How bad it really is it?
Well, now with social media, everything's like the way it has progressed. It could be difficult because, especially with the pandemic, like not a lot of people are going out like that. You can't socially meet someone out like how it used to be back in the day.
Right. The love of your life is stuck at home, Oscar.
Or it's she's probably stuck at home. And now that I don't really go out, like it's like, damn,
Shut your ass up. He's about to be out this
not
weekend.
even possibly not.
You guys are
not
gonna see
even.
a story tomorrow. He's gonna be out clubbing. No, I'm kidding.
Maybe whoever comments on my next TikTok video.
Yeah.
Possibility.
So we'll end it with that. Before I wrap it up, let them know where they can find you, your Instagram handles, your brand information.
So you can find me on Instagram, Oscar Benitez _12. If you're trying to take a look at my website, it is Tenacity Fit, and it's the bar that goes across. What is it? The
dash?
The dash, athletics.com. I do have a drop coming this September. You guys will see how, if you sign up, you'll get the updates. And I don't even know what my TikTok is, but it's on my Instagram, I believe.
You said bar. I was thinking about what bar.
You know what? I don't know what that dash.
Hey,
the dash that goes in the middle.
That's how you know you're still recuperating from going out. You said the bar. That's funny. All right. Well, we'll pretty much end it with that. Thank you for coming. Obviously, you made the trip. Appreciate you coming by. You're gonna continue to do good. Just like I said, watch your circle. Stay focused. Don't get distracted. And I think as long as you dedicate yourself, you're going to accomplish it. I already see it happening. I already visualize it for you. So appreciate you coming by. If you guys made it through this entire episode, I want to thank you guys so much. It's probably one of the longer ones, but it was good catching up with my brother and just having you guys see how our relationship is. I think we talked about a lot of important things that'll help you guys out as far as being consistent. And I hope that you guys enjoyed it, man. Drop your comments below. Let us know what you guys think. If you guys have been tuning in for every single episode, I appreciate you guys so much. Episode 5 next week, every Sunday at 7 p.m. until season 1 ends. Thank you guys for watching. I keep saying thank you, but I'm so grateful, like I said, to be doing these podcasts and to bring value. I believe that every single person that I bring on is always going to give you guys a good piece of advice. And I think as long as you guys take one thing, naturally we're not going to take everything in, but as long as you guys take one thing from each episode that helps you guys out, I think, we're doing something good here at the Need It Podcast. Se necesita.
Until next time.
Catch you guys next time. Peace.